Hi again, it's me, Cinnamon. I'm a 24-year-old working a corporate job who loves all things personal finance, and today I'll be going over my plan for 2025, or at least the start of my plan for 2025, because I'm expecting a lot of things to change this year. There are a lot of open questions, so this is not even close to being set in stone, and I'll walk you through all the things I'm not so sure about. Um, but yeah, this is totally just a start, so let's get right into it. Starting with income, that is the biggest question mark for this year. So I just am using my base pay plus my expected stock payout based on what I was initially granted, which would have my gross income for the year at $275,000. Now, this can go down if my stock grants end up paying out less than what I was initially granted, but the market has gone up since when I was initially granted that stock. And the last time I checked, my payout with the current stock price is targeting $317,000. So this can also go up. Now, there's another factor other than the market that can affect my income number, which is whether I keep my job for the entirety of the year. There's always a possibility of layoffs, but that's not even what I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking about me like quitting my job of my own volition. And if I am going to do that, that'll probably be around mid February, which is actually really close. So I might have to update this again at the start of Q2. But yeah, there's a lot up in the air. For now, I have just decided that I'm going to plan to keep my job for as long as possible, even when working on my side business. So that is why I am working with the assumption that I'm going to have my job for the whole year because I'm probably not going to really want to quit it unless my business is doing well. I don't know. Again, so many thoughts on this. There's so many good YouTube videos about like why you should quit your job, why you shouldn't quit your job. Right now, I'm leaning towards not quitting my job, but there's a lot that goes into that decision for sure. Anyway, I'm planning on contributing the max to my 401k, which is $23,500, and also the max to my HSA, which is $4,300. And I will also contribute the max to my Roth IRA, which is $7,000. But I mark that somewhere else since it's not affecting my taxes. Knowing that I'm going to reduce my taxable income by these two amounts, which add up to $27,000 or $27,800, I then calculate what I'll owe in taxes using a bunch of different resources, and that comes out to $94,000 in taxes that I'm expecting to owe. Um, and deducting that from my gross income only, I get my net income, which is just like my income minus taxes, um, at around $180,000, and that is the number I use to base everything else on my spreadsheet around. Okay, so I don't really think in terms of savings rates. I like to work with absolute numbers, but I think a savings rate is where I do like to start because I always like to save at least 50% of what I make because that means every month that I'm working, I basically also bought a month of freedom for myself. So I really like that easy, simple trade off. So I always like to start with can I at least do 50% and then work up from there. So starting with 50%, if I were to save 50% of my income and spend 50% of my income, I would put 90,000 towards savings and investments, and I would have another $90,000 to spend on my personal expenses. So the question is this enough for me? And for that, I then start breaking down what I'm expecting from my monthly recurring personal expenses and my not so monthly things like things that I put into sinking funds. And I also started a new category group called my giving funds, which will also be sinking funds, but specifically towards giving that I don't want to track as spending on myself just to make sure I get a really good number for what I need to spend to live. And I have that really entangled in my last few budgets. But yeah, I really want to separate that out, especially if I am going to quit my job. Like, I really want to get clear on what am I spending just on myself to live. So, yeah, I just start to chart all these things out. My monthly core expenses, I think about my health insurance, rent and utilities, transportation, food, which I just call my diet category because there are so many ways I get food, health and hygiene, anything I'm doing to invest in my skills, anything I'm spending on my aesthetics, social activities, discretionary spending buffer, which is what a lot of people might call fun money, but it's not necessarily always just for fun stuff or guilt free spending. It's more like if any of these categories have overspending, I kind of use this to cover it. And then also always accounting a buffer for inflation if things just get more expensive. Now, this in the past has been simple for me, but I actually now have this additional monthly alternative category because I'm expecting my monthly core expenses to shift dramatically midway through the year, maybe even before that, because I'm expecting to move in with my boyfriend, which is very stressful to think about as a person who likes to budget because now my budget and like my numbers are so heavily intertwined with someone else and their life decisions, and I'm just like really nervous. So that's another thing that like makes this plan super up in the air for me because I'm like, woo, are we really going to do that? And when should we do that is another question. Like theoretically I can theoretically move in now and, break my lease, which would be really easy since I'm subleasing from like an individual and not working with a corporation. So there are all these other things that I'm thinking about. And yeah, life is complicated. So I had to draw out both of those. And the thing that mostly changes between these two is my rent situation. So with moving in, I calculate what it's going to be with me staying at my current place for half the year and what I might pay in rent the other half the year if I move in with my boyfriend. Like in the ideal case, moving in with him, I wouldn't be paying any rent. There's like one edge case where I might have to pay rent, depending on if he also has to move. So there's just a lot of complexity there, and I did plan for that worst case scenario. But yeah, this might actually even be much lower. And I say this all to say my big question for the year, especially as someone who's planning on possibly quitting their job, is how low can I get my expenses? Like, I want to know really what that floor can look like. And that is why I'm like, okay, maybe I break my lease sooner and move in my boyfriend now, and I don't pay anything in rent for at least 6 months. And then he gets to stay in his current place for longer, so I continue to pay nothing in rent. But then if we have to move, like all these things. So I feel like I'm rambling because this world is chaotic, but basically, what I have mapped out here is my normal core expenses if my life keeps going as it's been going, and the alternative universe where I disrupt my life and drive my expenses down as far as possible. So, in this alternative universe, because that's really the universe I'm trying to get in as fast as possible, is I'm seeing that my total spend for the year on my monthly core expenses is going to be around $31,950, which is actually slightly higher than my goal amount um, that I came out to when I was planning all these savings rate universes of $31,200. And again, I was really trying like to bridge that $750 gap, but it really wasn't honest the ways I was doing that. So I'm keeping that disconnect for now because I think the only way I won't have this problem is if I'm able to move in with my boyfriend and not pay rent. So yeah, that would cover the $750 gap. Yeah. Okay. In a bad order of doing things, let me talk about this universe a little bit more where instead of spending 90,000 on my personal expenses, I spend 60,000 on my personal expenses, which actually doesn't sound crazy because last year my target was around, let's actually just jump cut, $52,000 on my personal expenses. So that actually sounds like I've given myself a pretty good increase in my standard of living. And I, spoiler alert, was able to pretty much stick to that $52,000 on my personal expenses. I'll have to do a year end recap to confirm that, but just with the way the year was going, I feel like I did stick to that universe of things. And so it seems like what's crazy about that change? Well, the crazy thing about that change is that even though I'm saying I'm going to be spending $60,000 on my personal expenses, $12,000 I'm expecting to go towards giving. And it's really hard for me to know what of my 52,000 went towards giving last year. It definitely wasn't up to $12,000, but yeah, I would have to do a lot of like disentangling a bunch of categories to get that number. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a difficulty there. I think the main thing to see is like what I was giving myself for my core spending, $43,000, is now going down to $31,000. So I am creating a big drop in my normal monthly expenses that I'm expecting. Yeah. And this isn't even just like challenge myself because I think, again, if I get rid of rent, this will be super duper easy. I'll actually have more discretionary income if I just like move in with my boyfriend today. Um, which is really getting me to think like why haven't I done it? I feel like it's just kind of awkward to try to talk about breaking the lease and then also to like start coupling your finances with someone more. It's, a risk to take. Um, I don't know what I was gonna say. This video is a mess because I have not been thinking about like money or budgets or anything in a while because I've just been crazy thinking about my business. But yeah, like I think I can really do this drop in spending and it's going to bring me a lot of relief when I get myself into that alternate universe because I will have the freedom to not have to work my job. My job isn't bad. I just can't really focus on it because I'm like obsessively building something else on the side right now and I can't do anything else but like focus on that. Okay, let's go into my dream universe. Let's just talk about the dream universe. So yeah, spending $31,200 on my core spending, but I still have a lot of money to spend, which is what I'm trying to remind myself because I also give myself $16,800 for my sinking funds, which is pretty good, right? So I feel like these numbers are really realistic. And I looked at my sinking funds to really figure out what I would need. Um, I need a new laptop, like it's a need. I need to get laser hair removal. I am so mad at myself for not just doing it last year because I'm like, if you did it last year, you would be hairless today. You would be hairless today. That's the crazy part. So, all of this stuff that I've been doing, like delaying things I want when I kind of have the money to do it now, I don't know why I did that. I actually don't know why I did that. And I'm like, oh my God, that was a mess. I'm never doing that again. So, laser hair removal, priority. General beauty things, like I want to have a better budget for beauty things because I was trying to do that with aesthetic expenses, but I don't think this is enough money. And I just think it needs to be a sinking fund. I don't know. I really just prefer spending out of my sinking funds over my monthly core spending. Like when it comes out of a sinking fund, it feels like, whoa, I really didn't need it. I don't know. So having a beauty sinking fund is like important to me. Let's see what I have written here. Hair and nails every 2 weeks is not going to be possible with this money, but yeah, I want to get better at doing that. And all of this like urgency too, I feel like is really driven by my business because I'm doing a lot of these networking things and I feel like you stand out so much, especially in my industry like tech, looking put together. You stand out so much looking put together. So that is important. That's a non-negotiable. Classes. I have so many classes I want to take. Let's see, art classes, writing classes, vocal lessons, music lessons, dance lessons. Okay, so the vocal lessons and the dance lessons are just for me, but the art classes, the writing classes, and the music lessons are semi related to the business. So I have two businesses actually that I'm working on right now because I don't know, like once I'm in this mood of like building things, I can't really, I'm just like always working on things. And one of them is a game. And making a game, like solo dev, making a game requires a lot of skills. So I really want to invest in all of these classes to improve my skills. And I'm planning on this game taking me a few years actually, because it's like a slow burn thing. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to finish my driving lessons. Which, the good thing about driving lessons from last year is that I wasn't planning on meeting my boyfriend, and he's the one teaching me how to drive. So I actually got to save a lot of money on lessons. And that means, I don't actually need to buy a car because that was something that I was considering doing once I got my driver's license. But I don't want to own a car. I was trying to plan out all of the expenses for a car. I was thinking about having like a car category. I was adding up insurance, charging, all of the things that come with having a car. And I just realized maintenance, registration, I just realized like this is going to blow up my budget. And I really decided I'm not getting a car. And guess what? I asked my wonderful boyfriend, like, would you mind if I drove? Because he has two cars. I was like, would you mind if I just drove your other car? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, problem solved. So that's another way like our financial lives are getting so enmeshed that I'm stressed about. Surgery, I already have $18,000 set aside. Like, why am I not on the surgery table today is crazy to me. I'm just not very good at getting things done. Like, I don't even want to call it procrastinating because it's not really procrastinating. I just like will have things on a to-do list forever. I'm a little indecisive, but this is the year of decision. And yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. Like I need to go for it because every day I wait, I'm getting less bang for my buck, right? Like I could have had that nose for an extra year. You get what I'm saying? Like the cost per use of the nose is rising because I'm waiting. So no more waiting. But I don't want to put extra money towards it this year. It would just blow up my budget too much. So that is why this is not in bold because it's not something I'm putting extra money towards this year, even though I'm getting it done. I will just take on the debt. It's crazy, but it's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the bold singing funds are the ones I actually committed to paying for once I made the plan out. But I like to know I didn't commit to pay for. Because it's good because I can go back, realize you didn't commit to laser hair removal, you didn't commit to general beauty, and now you regret it. You regret it. But I'm so happy I did commit to driver's ed and that Korea trip and really executed on those things. So that is good. Okay, okay, this video is a mess. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Next thing that I couldn't even come up with a new color for, guys. Like, this is the level of me being a mess that I am at. Is my giving funds. So right now, I think I'm in the stage of my life where a lot of my giving is going to be centered around my family. Like, luckily for me, I've been doing some of my parents' financial planning, and it's not as disastrous as I thought it was going to be. So I felt a lot more relief of like how much will I need to support my parents in retirement and all those things. Like I have answers to those questions now, and it's actually really not that bad because both my parents will be retiring outside of the US at a much lower cost of living country. And because my mom has been working in the US and has access to like social security still, that conversion rate is just like carrying. So yeah, I don't know. So right now the giving is a little bit more relaxed with family stuff. Like I want us to be able to do more fun things because all of the okay, we need money for your retirement urgent stuff is actually more addressed than I thought it would be. Um, so I think we're gonna do like a family vacation and I'm gonna pay for some parts of it and I want to put like $6,000 aside for that. There are always little things that come up throughout the year of like more serious stuff like rent stuff, electric bill stuff, all of these things that I'm putting $3,000 aside. That's my miscellaneous family giving. I was planning some immigration assistance stuff to help my dad with getting his US citizenship. He doesn't really seem interested in that process, so that is why this is not in bold. And honestly, we kind of screwed ourselves over not just doing that in 2024. So we'd probably have to wait a few years to get that done anyway now. So yeah, that's not prioritized. Friendsgiving, I do kind of have friends, but I don't like have the kind of setup right now with my friends where they have like heavy giving needs, like a bunch of weddings or things like that. Like that's not on my calendar at all. So I didn't prioritize that for 2025. And then formal giving, this is like outside of family, charities and stuff. I'm setting aside $3,000 for that. Yeah, so all of this, the bold categories add up to $12,000, which is why I give myself that $12,000 giving allowance. Okay, so I think I've explained all the parts of my personal expenses, which, yes, some of it is going to other people, but that's like my personal spending allowance. That's how I like to frame it. Um, yeah, and if I put $60,000 towards my personal expenses, I can put $120,000 to savings and investments. And right now, I'm not saving for anything, so it would just be investments. I have retirement, which will be my 401k and my Roth IRA added up to $30,000, $30,500. My health insurance, which is, I know we get some kind of subsidy from work for this. I think it's $500. So that's why I only have $3,850 being set aside for my HSA. I think I said my health insurance earlier. And so that means in my taxable brokerage, I'd be putting about $8,700. Now, that actually won't all be going towards my taxable brokerage. I could have just added another category, but I was kind of being lazy because I already feel overwhelmed with all of this stuff. And so I just made a note. 12,000 of this $85,000 I'm expecting to go towards investing in my business. So like I have to pay for a lot of things when starting this business. Right now, I'm like in the research and development phase, which has been pretty cheap. I've probably spent like $10, $20 on APIs and stuff like that. But once I'm scaling up to a production level, I want to know that I have $12,000 on server costs, hosting costs, like all of the things you need to do when you're starting a digital business. Um, I was thinking about hiring someone for branding, but I don't really think I can do that with $12,000. Like, that's not just committedly going towards branding. So we'll see if I'll have like room in the budget for that. I'll need to see the scale that we hit before I make any other big decisions, but I want to self fund initially for sure. I mean, I want to self fund the whole way through, truly. Like, that would be the goal. But yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm talking so much, guys. I'm stressed. Honestly, I'm a little stressed because I'm like, why am I not working on the things I need to be working on right now? What else is happening? Okay, so that's the plan for 2025. Did that sound like a plan to you? Because it didn't sound like a plan to me because who knows if I'm going to have this income? Who knows how long I'll be working my job? Who knows what my rent is going to be? I'm actually like thinking the more I'm talking it out to myself, like I'm like, girl, just break your lease. Like, you don't want to break it because it's awkward. You would be saving $1,800 a month. So maybe I just break my lease. Like, that is definitely something I'm considering for certain. Might really, do that now because this is crazy. I'm feeling stressed. What else? So, like, where am I going to live? A lot of the anxiety of this budget is like, I feel like I'm going to be really, in a relationship and that's stressful. Like, whoa, like who wants to do that? So there are all of these things. What else? What else is like crazy here? Like if I actually spend $12,000 on this business and it goes nowhere, that would be really sad? So I'm nervous about that. What else? All of my sinking funds, I'm hype about. Like laser hair removal, I'm hype about. No regrets there. Giving, I'm nervous about a little bit. Like I know with the family vacation, I just can't shoulder all the costs, but I'm really like, we don't have any parameters around what we want to do yet. I can't estimate this, like how far will $6,000 really go? Like, what are expectations here? I don't know. So, lots of anxiety there, but anyway, what I'm grounding myself in is my priorities. I think I had financial goals last time, which felt redundant, right? Like, it was either obvious, like this one, or it was just a lie, like these two. Um, so I'm not going to set any additional goals because I literally don't even know what here is like going to happen. Like off the cuff, the goals are to have the business make money, to invest as much as humanly possible for myself, um, to drop my expenses super duper low, and to spend money on the things that are important to me in these categories. Like those are the goals at the high level, financially speaking. But priorities. Number one priority, my health. Oh my God. I'm going to be doing a whole health overhaul in January. That is the intention. January will be a health overhaul. Yeah, I need to get healthy ASAP. Like being sick so much throughout 2024 was just not it for me. So health, beauty, like I go crazy. I go crazy if I don't look good. I'm not even saying like I ever look good. I'm saying like I can't do the things I need to do, like for my self actualization, if I don't feel like I look decent. So these are the facts of my life. These are the facts of my personality. I've got to invest in it. I've got to invest in it. It's time. And again, I'm increasing cost per use, right? By not getting things done sooner rather than later. So that is my second priority. Yeah, my business. The business would be a higher priority, but like the business can't get done if I'm not healthy and if I don't look decent. Like it just can't get done. So the business is the third priority. Continued learning. I just feel so good. Like having things I know I want to do. I feel good. Like life right now is making sense to me. I'm having direction again. I have things I want to learn. I know why I want to learn them. I need to really prioritize that and make sure I'm spending all my time in alignment with that. So that's why that's my fourth priority. Relationships with my family, with my boyfriend. Like my family's going to always be my family. And I feel like they can figure things out if like I can't be the responsible one. But with my boyfriend, it's like that's stressful. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like that is a really stressful decision to like move in with someone for real as an adult. Um, because I've moved in with people before, actually. This is a lot of information, but when you're in college, it's like, okay, we're in college. Like the semester is gonna end and I'm never gonna like I get a fresh start, like a naturally built fresh start. But when you're not in college, there's none of that like natural fresh start stuff. So you can't really just mess around. So I'm super nervous. And yeah, I just want things to keep being good. A lot of my life is contingent on this relationship continuing to be good, which is scary. And giving. And giving. I want to get like, I feel like once I get these things in order and I can stop thinking about myself so much, I can focus a lot more on like giving back to others. So yeah, 2026 for sure. I continue to give a lot of my time. I've been having so many like amazing moments recently with just some of the volunteer work I've done with like mentorship stuff. It's just like so fun. I want to have a more committed system though. And yeah, okay. This video's been long. I feel like everyone else's financial goals videos have been like tight and they've been clear, and mine are not tight. Mine are not clear. I do not know what 2025 will bring. I'm not nervous to like say I'll have a goal and it doesn't work out. It's more so like I literally don't even know where to riff off from because there's just this world of possibilities and branching and all these things. So my goals are not tight. This video might have not been clear, and I apologize. And my mind is just not here, guys. It's not here. I really want to get this business off the ground and be able to know what life's going to look like. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.